Language/term use of quote in the life. This is about the pimp game, people. Now, before I go further with this, I just want to let everybody know, whether it's the man or the woman, whether it's the pimp or the whore, they both, in my opinion, has low self-esteem. I will come back to explain the signs of that after the terms and use of this language quote in the life. Automatic, a term denoting the victim's automatic routine when her pimp is out of town, in jail, or otherwise not in direct contact with those he is prostituting. Victims are expected to comply with the rules and often do so out of fear of punishment or because they have been psychologically manipulated into a sense of loyalty or love. All money generated on automatic is turned over to the pimp. This money may be used to support his concession/phone account or to pay his bond if he's in jail. Bottom or bottom bitch, a female appointed by the trafficker/pimp to supervise the others and report rule violations, operating as his right hand. The bottom may help instruct victims, collect money, book hotel rooms, post ads, or inflict punishment on other girls. Branding, a tattoo or carving on a victim that indicates ownership by a trafficker/pimp/gang. Called a case, a term that refers to when a pimp or victim has been arrested and charged with a crime. Choosing up, the process by which a different pimp takes ownership of a victim. Victims are instructed to keep their eyes on the ground at all times. According to traditional pimping rules, when a victim makes eye contact with another pimp, accidentally or on purpose, she is choosing him to be her pimp. If the original pimp wants the victim back, he must pay a fee to the new pimp. When this occurs, he will force the victim to work harder to replace the money lost in the transaction. Circuit, a series of cities among which prostituted people are moved. Coercion, threats are perceived threats of serious harm to or physical constraints against any person. A scheme intended to cause a person to believe that failure to perform will result in serious harm to or physical restraint against any person. Commercial Sex Act, any sex act on account of which anything of value is given to or received by any person. Cousin-in-laws, victims of pimp partners who work together. Daddy, the term a pimp will often require his victim to call him. Date, the exchange when prostitution takes place, or the activity of prostitution. A victim is said to be, quote, with a date, or, quote, dating. Exit fee, the money a pimp will demand from a victim who is thinking about trying to leave. It would be an exorbitant sum to discourage her from leaving. Most pimps never let their victims leave freely. Facilitators, it is important to realize that human trafficking operations often intersect or exist along legitimate businesses. As a result, certain industries may help to enable, support, or facilitate human trafficking. This, quote, support structure may include a wide range of individuals, organizations, businesses, and corporations, and internet sites and practices. Common facilitators on which traffickers frequently rely include hotels and motels, landlords, labor brokers, taxi and other driving services, airlines, bus and rail companies. Family slash folks.
You got sticky face.
The term used to describe the other individuals under the control of the same pimp. He plays the role of father or daddy, while the group fulfills the need for a family. Finesse pimp slash Romeo pimp. One who prides himself on controlling others primarily through psychological manipulation, although he may shower his victims with affection and gifts, especially during the recruitment phase. The threat of violence is always present. Fraud. Knowingly misrepresenting the truth or concealing an actual fact for the purpose of inducing another person to act to her slash his detriment. Examples of fraud include false promises for specific employment, being promised a certain amount of money that is never paid, working conditions are not as promised, being told she or he will receive legitimate immigration papers or a green card to work, but the documents are not obtained.
No.
Now you got balls?
No.
Wow.
Huh?
Force.
You head towards me.
It can also go for federal TV PA definition, but force is what I'm going to explain the definition of. Physical restraint or causing serious harm. Examples of force include kidnapping, battering, kicking, pushing, denial of food or water, denial of medical care, forced use of drugs or denial of drugs once a victim is addicted, forced to lie to friends and family about their whereabouts, being held in locked rooms or bound. Guerrilla or guerrilla pimp. A pimp who controls his victims almost entirely through physical violence and force. Head cut. A victim getting beaten down by their pimp. In pocket. Not paying any other pimp than the one controlled by the victim. Not speaking to any other pimp. Quote John, aka buyer or trick. An individual who pays for or trades something of value for sexual acts. Kiddie stroll, an area known for prostitution that features younger victims. Wow. Loose bitch. Pimps call a loose bitch a victim who keeps choosing different pimps. Lot lizard. Derogatory term for a person who is being prostituted at truck stops. Madam. An older woman who manages a brothel, escort service, or other prostitution establishment. She may work alone or in collaboration with other traffickers. Out of pocket. The phrase describing when a victim is not under control of a pimp but working on a pimp-controlled track, leaving her vulnerable to threats, harassment, and violence in order to make her choose a pimp. This may also refer to a victim who is disobeying the pimp's rules. Pimp, a person who controls and financially benefits from the commercial sexual exploitation of another person. The relationship can be abusive and possessive, with the pimp using techniques such as psychological intimidation, manipulation, starvation, rape and or gang rape, beating, confinement, threats of violence towards the victim's family, forced drug use, and the shame from these acts to keep the sexually exploited person under control. Pimp circle, where several pimps encircle a victim to intimidate through verbal and physical threats in order to discipline the victim or force her to choose up. Pimp partner, two pimps who are friends and allow their victims to work together. Quota, a set amount of money that a trafficking victim must make each night before she come home. Quote home. Quotas are often set between $300 and $2,000. If the victim returns without meeting the quota, she is typically beaten and sent back out on the street to earn the rest. Quotas vary according to geographic region, local events, and etc.
Let's just move, man.
Reckless eyeball,
I'm ready to do whatever we
a
gotta do.
term
You know
which
what I'm saying?
refers to
Well,
the
we got
act
the man,
of
we gonna
looking
take it on in,
around
baby.
instead
That's
of
all right.
keeping your eyes on the ground. Eyeballing is against the rules and can lead an untrained victim to choose up by mistake. Renegade, a person involved in prostitution without a pimp. Seasoning, a combination of psychological manipulation, intimidation, gang rape, sodomy, beatings, deprivation of food or sleep, isolation from friends or family and other sources of support, and threatening or holding hostage of a victim's children. Seasoning is designed to break down a victim's resistance and ensure compliance. Serving a pimp, the actual phone call one pimp makes to another after taking his victim. Squaring up, attempting to escape or exit prostitution. Okay, squaring up, people, is an attempt to escape or exit prostitution. Stable, a group of victims who are under the control of a single pimp. The game / the life. The subculture of prostitution, complete with rules, a hierarchy of authority, and language. Referring to the act of pimping as the game gives the illusion that it can be a fun and easy way to make money, when the reality is much harsher. Women and girls would say they've been, quote, in the life if they've been involved in prostitution for a while. Track, also known as stroll or blade, an area of town known for prostitution activity. This can be the area around a group of strip clubs and pornography stores, or a particular stretch of street. Trade up / trade down. To move a victim like merchandise between pimps. A pimp may trade one girl for another or trade with some exchange of money. Trick, committing an act of prostitution or the person buying it. A victim is said to be, quote, turning a trick or, quote, with a trick. Turn out. to be forced into prostitution, or a person newly involved in prostitution. The wire, a pimp hotline, like a phone tree pimps use to get the word around, to find out which city is on/off. Wiring money from victims to pimp in different cities/states. They call it put it on the wire. Traffickers. Traffickers are people who exploit others for profit. They can be any demographic, individuals, groups, street gangs, and organized crime, business or contract. Okay, now I'm going to explain to you all about the low self-esteem part. Whether you're a man or a woman, whether you're the pimp or the prostitute, if you're in this lifestyle, you're in this lifestyle for the dilemma. Remember, people, dilemma means do as thy wilt. Do as thy wilt means pleasure. And the reason why I say they both have low self-esteem is because that's what it is. Now, I'm going to give off the definitions of low self-esteem. And if you are a person who are willing to perceive knowledge and wisdom, then you will understand the depths of the meaning as I put it within the meanings of the pimp and the prostitute. I don't care if she's pimping or he's the prostitute or he's the pimp and she's it don't even matter. Whoever's in this lifestyle, who's ever in this game, you know. But if you are a person who has cognitive dissonance is someone who don't want to believe the truth when it's new news to them. New news is hard to believe. They rather stick with the traditional lies of something. So when someone renew their mind or try to renew their mind with new news that's the truth, or they may be of truth, they rather stay within the cognitive dissonance. They rather stay in that mind frame of traditional belief of what something is, like the word Holy Ghost. Not to go there, not to get off the subject, but I'm just saying it's a difference in people who think they know this and that and the other, but they are truly just have cognitive dissonance. So this is for those who are willing to have an open mind about circumstances. You know, you have a choice in what you want to accept and what you don't want to accept. But I'm just giving you a reason on what for those who don't want to accept the truth. People that don't want to accept the truth, when they hear new news, they have cognitive dissonance. This channel is about spiritual growth and development. That's what this channel is about. And if it's someone who's willing to learn, then they can perceive the message well, and they can also teach the next person. You can't teach if you're not willing to learn. Okay. Giving off some signs or symptoms of low self-esteem include lack of confidence, external locus of control, negative social comparisons, trouble asking for help, worry and doubt, difficult accepting compliments, negative self-talk, and fear of failure. Typically, a person with low self-esteem is extremely critical of themselves, downplays or ignores their positive qualities, judges themselves to be inferior to their peers, uses negative words to describe themselves such as stupid, fat, ugly, or unlovable. These are the qualities of high self-esteem. Assertive in expressing needs and opinions, confident in ability to make decisions, able to form secure and honest relationships and discontinue unhealthy ones, realistic in expectations, not overcritical of self or others, more resilient, better able to endure stress and setbacks. Now, I'm going to need you all to compare those with the story of quote in the life. Stay up.
The girl, as much as she love you, she have to fear you just that much too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to put that in her. You know, and what I mean by that, I think I told it on one of my testimony stories about, if you tell a prostitute you're going to kill her, when it come time to prove that to her, you have to make it so real that she beg you to stop, Daddy, before you kill me. Because one thing about it, if you tell her that, she gonna put you through the test. She gonna see if you will kill her. That's how it is in the game. And then it's like this too. I didn't have females get jealous and mad at me because I wouldn't hit them. She think if you don't hit her now, you don't like her or love her.